Emily and John, 5 simple ways to use creatine for joint health. Active Aging Hub. Emily had always been the kind of person who never slowed down. At 63, she was still gardening every morning, chasing her grandchildren around the yard, and dancing in her kitchen while making Sunday dinner. But over the past year, something had changed. Her knees began to ache in ways they never had before. Her wrists felt stiff when she twisted open jars. And those stairs she used to climb without thinking twice. They started to feel like a mountain. She didn't want to complain. She'd seen too many people her age give up on the things they loved because their bodies told them to stop. But one afternoon, after struggling to kneel down to plant her favorite roses, she sat on the porch and felt something she hadn't felt in years. Defeat. That's when her husband John, who had been quietly watching her for weeks, finally spoke up. He'd been reading about something called creatine. Not the bodybuilding supplement he remembered from decades ago, but something different. Something that might help her move the way she used to. At first, Emily dismissed it. She'd tried joint supplements before. Glucosamine, chondroitin, turmeric capsules that promised miracles but delivered nothing but expensive urine. But John insisted. He showed her studies. Real research. Not from some influencers selling magic powders, but from universities and medical journals. Creatine wasn't just for muscles. It was for joints, for cartilage, for the connective tissue that had been quietly breaking down inside her knees and wrists without her even realizing it. So she tried it. Not because she believed it would work, but because she loved John, and he believed it might. And what happened next surprised both of them. But before we get to that, let's talk about what creatine actually is. Because most people still think it's only for 20-year-olds trying to get bigger biceps. And that's where the whole conversation gets interesting. Creatine is one of the most researched compounds in all of nutritional science. It's a molecule your body naturally produces, mostly in your liver and kidneys, and it plays a critical role in energy production at the cellular level. When your muscles contract, when your heart beats, when your brain fires signals across synapses, creatine is there, quietly fueling the process. For decades, athletes used it to improve performance, but scientists kept discovering something else. Creatine wasn't just helping muscles grow, it was protecting them, repairing them, and most surprisingly, it was doing the same thing for joints. Cartilage, the smooth tissue that cushions your joints, doesn't have its own blood supply. That means it can't heal the way a cut on your skin does. It relies on a slow, fragile process of nutrient exchange through synovial fluid. And as you age, that process breaks down. Inflammation creeps in. Cartilage thins, joints start grinding, bone on bone. This is what doctors call osteoarthritis, and it's one of the most common causes of chronic pain in older adults. But here's the thing. Creatine helps cartilage cells produce more energy, which means they can repair and regenerate more effectively. It's not a cure, it's not magic, but it's real. Emily started with just 5 grams a day, mixed into her morning coffee. She didn't notice anything at first, not for a week, not even for 2. But by the 3rd week, something shifted. She knelt down to plant tomatoes and realized she'd done it without thinking. Without bracing herself, without the sharp, familiar ache that usually followed. John noticed too. She was moving differently, lighter, more confident, and that's when they both started paying closer attention. The first way Emily used creatine for joint health was simple: consistency. She took it every single day. No exceptions. Creatine works by saturating your muscle and joint tissues over time. If you take it sporadically, you never reach the levels needed to see real benefits. Emily set a daily reminder on her phone. 5 grams. Every morning. No negotiation. And that consistency became the foundation for everything else. The second way was timing. Emily learned that taking creatine with a source of carbohydrates helped her body absorb it more effectively. So she started mixing it into her oatmeal or a small glass of orange juice. The insulin response triggered by carbs helps shuttle creatine into cells, which means more of it ends up where it's needed. This wasn't about maximizing muscle growth. It was about maximizing joint support, and it worked. The third way was hydration. Creatine pulls water into your cells, which is part of how it supports tissue health. But that also means you need to drink more water throughout the day. Emily bought a large water bottle and made it a habit to finish 2 full bottles before dinner. She noticed her skin looked better too. Her energy improved, and her joints felt less stiff in the mornings, especially on cold days when the ache used to linger for hours. The fourth way was movement. Creatine doesn't work in isolation. It enhances your body's ability to move and recover, but you still have to move. Emily started doing gentle resistance exercises 3 times a week. Squats while holding onto the kitchen counter. Wall push-ups, leg lifts while lying on her yoga mat. Nothing extreme, nothing that felt like punishment. Just enough to remind her joints that they were still capable. And with the creatine supporting her cartilage and muscle tissue, the recovery was faster. The soreness less intense. The progress more noticeable. The fifth way was patience. Emily didn't expect overnight results, and that mindset saved her from giving up too soon. She gave it 3 months. 3 full months of consistent supplementation, hydration, movement, and trust in the process. And by the end of that period, she was doing things she hadn't done in over a year. Playing on the floor with her grandchildren. Walking upstairs without gripping the railing. Opening jars without asking John for help. These weren't small victories. They were her life coming back. Now, this is not medical advice. Emily didn't replace her doctor or her physical therapist. She just added a tool that science has validated. And that tool happened to make a real difference. Creatine monohydrate is widely available, affordable, and has decades of safety data behind it. But everyone's body is different, and if you're managing a chronic condition or taking medications, you should always talk to a healthcare professional before starting any new supplement. What surprised Emily most was not just how creatine monohydrate improved her experience with joint health, but how everything started to feel different once she switched to the right method. She wasn't expecting such a clear change, and honestly, she tested it more than a few times before she figured out what really worked. This isn't a promotion or endorsement, just sharing real results that made a noticeable difference for her. She'll leave the link below if you want to dig deeper and understand what she means. Emily's story isn't unique. Millions of people over 50 are quietly losing mobility, independence, and joy because their joints are breaking down faster than their bodies can repair them. And while creatine won't reverse decades of wear and tear overnight, it can give your body a fighting chance to rebuild what's been lost. It's not about being young again. It's about being present, being active, being able to do the things that make life worth living without constant pain holding you back. John still gets emotional when he talks about it. He says the best part wasn't just seeing Emily move better. It was seeing her smile again when she played with the grandkids. It was hearing her laugh without wincing. It was watching her reclaim the life she thought was slipping away. And that's what this is really about. Not supplements, not science, but the quiet, powerful act of refusing to give up on yourself. If you've been struggling with joint pain, stiffness, or that creeping feeling that your body just isn't keeping up anymore, maybe it's time to try something different. Not something extreme. Not something unproven, just something that works. And if it helps even a little, that might be all you need to start moving forward again. Tell us which country or city you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.